We're joined this morning by our political analyst, John Dadian. We want to apologize to our viewers out there because we have the mayor on every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month, first Sunday of every month, and he comes in and answers your questions. And he decided that he was not going to answer your questions this morning because they involved France, Sun Road, city attorney, firefighter pay, etc. And he decided that he was not going to come on. So John Dadian is here to answer not only those questions, but some more and analyze what's going on at City Hall. Good morning to you, sir.
But I'll probably have a different perspective than the mayor.
I think you probably will. Let's first talk about your overall impressions of the past, month or so at City Hall, historically.
I've got a lot of cliches I can use, and one of them is the hits just keep on coming. Every day we have something different. But what you're seeing is now there's the supposed that there's an actual formal federal investigation going on, specifically on the Sun Road deal. And what's interesting is the way they're handling it. There's a very big comparison to other famous scandals. And I think this does have the potential to become a scandal. If you look at some of our famous scandals, Watergate, Benghazi, here's a couple things that they have in common. They start out by making one statement, and then as it deepens, things change. For example, Mayor Filner at first said, in response to the Sun Road deal, of course we want to get something. Nobody gets anything for free. That was his comments. Now he's saying, I didn't know anything about it. Well, you can't have it both ways. You saw that in Watergate, Benghazi. Benghazi was supposedly because of a video, then they admitted it was terrorist.
Okay, I want to be careful here because the city council is not innocent in all of this, correct? It's coming to light that they were also dealing with the land and planning department as well and not maybe including the mayor in some of those discussions. Fair or not fair?
I think that's accurate that happened, but again, I think what the difference is whether or not the city council knew about this deal and this memo that was done. I haven't seen anything that said they knew about that aspect of it yet, and to me, that's where the supposed investigation's coming from, is whether or not that was a quid pro quo. Today, the UT has an editorial that's saying flat out it was illegal. Again, I want to wait till the actual investigators say that.
Okay, giving back the $100,000 check, what does that tell you?
Smart, a little too late.
Okay. Federal investigation has that. We have not been able to confirm that. There are sources, but we have not been able to confirm that there is a federal investigation. Would have been nice to have the mayor on here to ask if he has been contacted or anyone in his office been contacted. What does it mean that if they are, say they are, for argument's sake, say there is an investigation, where does that go from here?
It goes very possibly criminal charges, because if they determine that it was a quid pro quo, or that they were specifically giving up something, for example, city land, for an actual fee, even if it went to the city and not to anybody's personal pocket, that could be possibly illegal under both possibly state and federal. So this is very, very serious.
I want to talk about the France trip. He went over to France using police detail, and then said that it was going to be jobs for Sandiego. Do we know what jobs specifically are coming back from that trip?
I haven't heard it yet. And again, here's another example of not what happened, but how it was handled. When they first asked him who paid for it, he wouldn't say. Well, that's eventually going to come out because as a public official, annually he has to disclose any type of, monetary that he receives, et cetera, properly and legal, but he hasn't said so yet. Why not say it now if it's going to come out eventually? So it's the oldest rule in politics, Jeff, is perception becomes reality.
Okay, and the city attorney squabbles are becoming, it seems every week there is a new layer to this. Do we know what the deputy city attorney leaked to the media? That was Mayor Filner's reasoning, he says, for kicking him out of that closed session meeting. And now Jan Goldsmith saying there won't be any more closed session meetings if my attorneys are treated the way they're treated.
The mayor said that the deputy city attorney leaked confidential information from closed session.
But do we know what he leaked? Has he released what he leaked?
The mayor has not said specifically, but from everything that I've read, if he said anything, there's a difference here, and this is where the mayor makes these broad statements sometimes that might not be factual in law. You cannot leak confidential information, which is the mayor said, but if he said something about closed session, if it wasn't confidential information, it wasn't proprietary for that closed session, then there's nothing broken. And I think that's what happened here, if anything was said at all. Now, my concern about the city attorney, he might be playing the mayor's game, which I think is probably not smart, by saying there's going to be no closed session, because what if the mayor becomes firm and says, okay, well, the city can't go for too many weeks without closed session. Those are absolutely essential to running the city.
City Council President Todd Gloria issuing a statement afterwards saying, guys, let's get this out of the mud and try and be adults and be professional and handle the city's business. Proper course there?
Absolutely proper course. Todd Gloria is your example of, because he's elected from within the council, he's elected as a council member from his district, but he's elected by his peers as president, so he is trying to be a leader and handle things that way. But you see other council members that are also making similar statements. Kevin Faulkner, who's been a little bit of critic of the mayor, certainly he's been very clear, but you even see some of the mayor's allies, such as the new council member, such as David Alvarez, who's, looks like he's got a bright future, etc. They're trying to protect the mayor, but they can only do it so long, and even they're getting a little nervous.
In your experience, and you have been in the city a long time, when there is a federal investigation, if there is a federal investigation, what happens next? Where does it go from here? The Department of Justice, the FBI perhaps involved in the dealings at City Hall. Where does it go from here? Again,
it's not unusual that even if we have supposed rumors or even actual leaks that there is investigation, it's not unusual that they won't say anything going on. But if
they're not supposed to, actually.
They're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But if you see something, for example, and I hate to make this comparison, but the last main FBI investigation in the city was the famous Cheetah Gate, and what they did by surprise is they went into the offices, started talking to people, basically an interrogation in their office, and took computer files and file equipment. If at some point we see that happening, then you know that this is serious business.
Now, if someone is convicted, if the mayor would be, if there is a charge brought, Roger Hedgecock was convicted. That didn't force him to resign. He resigned on his own free will. There isn't anything in the city charter that would force a mayor to resign. He has to do it on his own free will, correct?
Actually, I'm not a legal analyst, so I'm not sure about that, but okay. I'm not sure if that's correct. The other example that I'm thinking of is, ironically, Michael Zucchet, because when Dick Murphy resigned, Michael Zucchet was acting mayor for one day, and then he was convicted, and I believe he immediately resigned.
Don't play poker with Michael Zucchet, apparently.
I hear that.
All right, where do you see it going from here? I mean, it has been a very, very tumultuous month or 2 months, really ever since he took office. Where do you see it going from here, and do you think he needs, obviously, to bring it back, tone it down?
The so-called feud, which Jan Goldsmith says is not a feud, but the so-called feud between the mayor and the city attorney, a lot of Filner supporters like that. They feel that they're fighting for him. Here's where you see the first crack in the Filner structure, and that is when his senior staff starts leaving. And there's been at least 2. There's rumors there might be more.
Who do we know for sure?
We know the Deputy Chief of Staff,
right,
Alan Jones,
right,
and Communications Director
Irene McCormick. She did step down for certain.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that's public. That's been in all the public. And Irene, for example, I've known for many years, former journalist, former top person at the port, so has a very good reputation. When those type of people with that type of stature start leaving in a circle, Alan Jones was with them 25 years ago. When that starts leaving, that shows the crack, and that's a real danger sign. Vince Hall, the current chief of staff, is as good as they come as a political operative, as a political staff. However, he can only do so much, and now with those other senior people leaving, the pressure's on him.
John Dadian, political analyst, thank you for coming in this morning. We appreciate you staying true to your word and coming in and answering some tough questions.
Good to see you.
All right, appreciate it very much.